AskReddit by Futureline 4253. What is a hard pill to swallow, but makes everything easier once you do? No matter how good someone may be, bad things can still come to them. Likewise, horrible people can still have good things come to them. The world's not fair and equal. Truer words have never been spoken. I live my life trying to do good and be good as a general rule. I would let people treat me like shit and I would turn the other cheek. I would help the downtrodden. But then my 13-year-old daughter died of a sudden asthma attack, and I see all these terrible, abusive mothers with their children and I realize the universe doesn't care how good or evil anyone is. The world does not care about you the way you think it should. A man said to the universe, "So, I exist." "However," replied the universe, "the fact has not created in me a sense of obligation." Not all relationships are meant to last, and if the person you're attached to and love is treating you poorly, you can find someone else. And even if you can't find someone else, you're better off single than in a toxic relationship. We judge other people by their actions, or the results of those actions. We judge ourselves by our intentions. It is so important to recognize the difference between your intent and your impact. You should apologize if the impact of your decisions harmed someone regardless of your intent. People don't talk about you or care about you as much as you think they do. But why do I care about them very much? You do not owe loyalty to your employer. You are disposable. And an office that collapses without you was never stable to begin with. There are a lot of things in this world that are not your fault but are still your responsibility. Like if the snow falls, that's not your fault. It's still your responsibility to shovel the walk. I apply this to mental health. It's not my fault, but I need to take care of it to the best of my ability so I'm functional for my family, friends, co-workers. You can't love someone enough for them to start treating you better. This one was the most heartbreaking one for me. It's never a good idea to get gas in the morning before work. Get gas now. I have a variation of this. I am not perfect in any way, but I do one thing: I always put out my clothes and pack my bag the night before. Make my morning routine infinitely easier. That in the end it's up to you to get off your ass and get your shit done. Nobody else is gonna live your life for you. But I don't want to. Be your own savior. No one is coming to help you or take care of you. When I was younger I had a girlfriend tell me Prince Charming isn't coming. Save yourself. More young women need to hear that. Accepting that you have a disability and that it does in fact disable you. In my experience, once you accept it you can find ways to deal with it instead of pushing through and making yourself suffer more. Yes, it's always heartbreaking talking to people who are newly disabled. My experience is of the chronic or invisible illness community. I totally understand you want your old life back and every time you push too hard and then fall down it is devastating. I also understand you are on a 2 to 5 year timeline to acceptance and things will be better for you then. Improvement is possible. You will never be the same. It's also always heartbreaking to see the newly disabled understand how systemically fucked they are. It's like a veil falling away from their eyes. Society will punish disability, the medical system will too, and individuals will behave despicably to you for it. Your actions today will dictate how you physically feel tomorrow, or even more relevant, in 20 years from now. No, it is not normal to save severe pain and fatigue at 30, not talking about chronic illnesses. I am a lazy fuck. Most of us are lazy fucks, but we only have one body and reserving bad lifestyle choices gets harder and harder over time. Best to start today. The best self-care is caring for your future self. Although small actions compound too, so it's mostly up to you to decide whether your future self has collected a bunch of interest on metaphorical debt, avoidable health troubles, shitty relationships, etc., or savings, physical resilience, healthy relationships, mental flexibility. I live by this to the point that sometimes it's a bit silly, like I hate the sentiment of well just do it tomorrow, because why would I be cruel and pile more work onto tomorrow me when I could just do the dishes today instead, lol. It is okay to be ordinary. 99.9% of us are. Spits his pill out like a particularly ornery cat. That you will fuck up. You will make mistakes, or fail, but that's okay, we all do. Sucking at something is the first step at being good at something. Just because you're nice, doesn't mean anyone owes you anything. But do watch to see how people react, it gives info you wouldn't otherwise have. Useful for people who you come to know by circumstance vs those we meet by choice. What do you mean by do watch to see how people react? You can do everything right and still lose. Captain Peacock for the win. Your parents are going to get old, God willing, and die. And watching it happen is going to break your fucking heart. And 50% of people will see their spouse die too. I'm not ready for any of it. You spend most of your life alone. Be good to yourself. Become self-sufficient. Don't let anyone distract you. You are all you have. If you have chronic pain, you will likely always have chronic pain, and it's not the end of the world. Took me about 4 years of therapy to accept that. Once I stopped trying to stop the pain entirely, the pain stopped bothering me almost entirely. When you stop focusing your attention on how people think of you, you could reach higher lengths and you'll thank yourself later. Joke's on you, I've done that a while ago and I have most definitely reaches the deepest pits of hell. Sometimes, people just won't like you. And that's fine. Find the people who do like you. Be someone you like. I know I'm fat at the moment and I know exactly why I'm fat. I know how to not be fat but currently lack the discipline or energy to change. I justify my shitty eating habits by saying I'm stressed, depressed, going through a rough patch at work, but that's just life. I spent several years saying that I knew how to lose weight, I just wasn't ready to devote the time and effort to it. I was getting evicted, divorced, fired, I was in collections, I was sick, my family was sick. I was perpetually in crisis for several years. Once my life settled down, I decided I was ready. I've lost 50 pounds and counting. Sometimes it's an excuse. But sometimes it's just a reason. Life can be a bitch, and there's rules in place to prevent you from having more going on than you can cope with. There's wisdom in not taking something on that you don't have the time to accomplish. When someone shows you they don't want you in their life, believe them the first time and walk away. Sometimes the people talking shit about you are 100% correct. Exactly. We're all the villain in someone's story, even though we constantly view ourselves as the protagonists.